What's up, guys? I was having a conversation with my brother yesterday, and it ended up being a lot longer than the time that I had allotted to talk. But when you connect with people who are intellectually, stimulating and like-minded and like-hearted, sometimes the conversation can go longer than anticipated. And I was raising the point, right? Because he said in the conversation, life is a journey, not a destination. And I reminded him that's an Aerosmith line. And it's true. When we talk about life being a journey, and we talk about as infants to the point we are now, everything is evolution. So you have to learn how to walk, you have to learn how to talk, you have to learn how to do all of these things. There's grade 1 all the way up to grade 12, then you graduate, you go to college. Why is it that way? So, okay, my nephew, my brother's son, the baby that I posted singing Bruno Mars, he's a Bruno Mars, super fan. He's very intelligent, he's very gifted. Let me load this just a little bit. So he's not just musically talented, he's also very intelligent, very, very intelligent young boy. He's 5 years old, and he just got accepted into a school for the gifted. What makes this school so unique is that they are able to accelerate children based off of their personal development and based off of their knowledge. For example, if you're in kindergarten, but you can read at a 3rd grade level, they will skip you to 3rd grade in the reading department. They don't feel any particular need to hold a kid back just because of their age. So you have 2nd graders who are doing mathematics at a 5th grade level, and they're pretty much in 5th grade because developmentally, mentally, they can handle the work. And I think that was really genius. And so they just enrolled him in this school for the gifted. And I look at life as similar. You can't handle everything all at once. That's the reason why knowledge comes at different stages. And you can't really rush your evolutionary process. When they say that, the teacher appears when the student is ready, that's a fact. And so why does the teacher appear when the student is ready? The teacher appears when the student is ready because prior to that point, the knowledge that the teacher may impart, the student would not be receptive of. The student may not have the tools, may not have the understanding, may not have the mind open to be receptive of that information that the teacher has to give to the student. And so that's like life. I was using myself as an example. I felt as if there were outside forces that were really trying to speed up my evolution and speed up my life lessons and bombard me with life lessons. And I was like, at the time I was mourning my father, and I was doing things internally, and I'm not going to get too personal, that things that I had never ever done before. I was slaying internal demons. I was doing things that I thought were impossible. I was calling on my Creator for strength that I didn't even know that I had. And because I know how to play it cool, people didn't even really know the work that I was doing on myself. And I don't compare myself to people, but I was doing work on myself that most people could not. Probably could, if they relied on the Creator the way that I rely on the Creator, but most people would not. I was disciplining myself in forms and fashions that most people cannot. And there was a part of me that was saying, well, why do you have different expectations for yourself than you do for me? For example, you may have a woman who doesn't pay any of her bills. Her husband pays all of her bills, but wants to, pick apart your lifestyle and things of that nature. And I could spend a lot of time pointing out so many different ways that I see deceit and hypocrisy, but then I wouldn't get anything done because it's just too much. And even beyond that, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We have this tendency that when somebody points out your imperfections, then you want to go ahead and point out all of their imperfections. Somebody pointing out your imperfections, when you reach a certain stage of evolution, you should thank them, because they're expediting the process to some degree, especially if you weren't aware of those things. Like, wow, you just gave me an opportunity to learn about myself, to grow in the ways that I didn't even need to grow. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're a hypocrite. It doesn't matter if they're a liar. It doesn't matter. What does that have to do with you? Like, you should be so committed to your radical evolution that it doesn't matter who helps facilitate it. Because we know, like, I mean, I could tell you so many of the people that have been trying to, whatever, give me adversity or whatever, the magnitude of the hypocrisy is astonishing. And I'm like, how the hell do you have way higher expectations for me than you do for yourself? That's not even really a question that I should ask. Because what does that have to do with me being the woman that I'm here to become? You and your hypocrisy and your deceit and your manipulation and what does that have to do with me? But again, the teacher only appears when the student is ready. And guess what? The teacher is all things and everybody. The teacher is the universe, all encompassing. The teacher may not come through in like the blazer with the attaché. The teacher could be the homeless man, the drunk homeless man who lost everything, or the addict who lost everything. That's telling you not to do drugs and not to drink. And you're like, whatever. You got liquor on your breath while you're telling me that. Well, yeah. That person is of value because they can say, look at my life. Don't be like me. So the teacher is in all things. We all are students of life. And I say this to say that I didn't want to become complacent in my radical evolution in certain categories, because there were certainly more categories that I needed to evolve in. But all I could say in response to that was I either had a short-term plan or a long-term plan. And I've done enough soul searching and I've spent enough time in solitude that I'm pretty aware of myself as far as the ways that I need to grow. I'm not somebody who's like head in the clouds and not aware of who I am and the ways that I fall short. And it's not an attack on me to say you're not perfect. You fall short in certain categories. We get so offended as people when people tell us we're not perfect. We're not perfect, none of us. If we were perfect, we wouldn't be here on this life journey where it's nothing but lessons. If we were perfect, we would have, vaporized into euphoria, into nirvana, or wherever we go when we reach that state of perfection. We are on a journey of refinement, and no one is the exception of that. So for someone to point out your imperfections, it shouldn't be such a jab at your ego. And I said, when I blow up, I never want to have yes men around me, because yes men keep you in stagnation. People who are too scared to tell you the truth keep you in stagnation. And people are often dismissive and say, hey, when somebody says something that's not favorable to my ego or to, who I think I am, that's hate. They're a hater. But guess what? If the hater says something that you need to hear that's going to help you become better, take it. It doesn't matter who it's coming from on this journey of life as students of life. You don't dismiss entirely things that the hater says if it's a value to you. And if it's not a value, then you dismiss it entirely. You have to be so full of self-love and so committed to your ascension, your evolution, that you can be receptive to anything and anyone who helps you get there. And part of my work that I had to do was really detaching myself from victim consciousness, because it was very easy to say, well, woe is me. Why do people have higher expectations for me than they do for themselves? That was the problem for me, and it was something that I grappled with for a very long time. Like, why do you expect more of me than you do for your own self? And it didn't matter. That question really didn't matter. All that mattered was I going to come out of this cocoon, and was I going to evolve into a butterfly? What's going on in their psyche and the things that they're dealing with on their journey of life is really not for you to analyze and figure out. What's going on in your journey of life is really for you to analyze and figure out. And I just wanted to close with this last thing, this idea of respect, love, humility, certain internal, intrinsic, characteristics. Maybe that's the way to categorize it. I was thinking about respect, this idea of respect, like, you have to respect me, you need to respect me. You might work for a boss who demands respect, or you might have a wife or a husband who demands respect. Whatever that means, respect means they get the first plate at the dinner table, they get served first, or you quiet when they talk, or whatever outwardly respect means. But I've worked for bosses who demand respect. No, you don't talk when I talk. No, you listen to what I say. You do as you're told. But if that individual, if your spouse, if your employee sees you and you operate in a way that they don't find respectable, they can outwardly show you respect through their behavior, but inwardly they do not respect you. You cannot force someone to respect you. Same with love. You have married men, you have married women whose hearts belong to someone else. They're making love and they're thinking about somebody else. You have people who haven't seen their love in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, but they carry that individual in their heart. You cannot force someone to love you. This is a feeling, and you cannot force somebody. Just like you can't force someone to fall out of love with you. You can't force anybody to love you. And that goes with humility. Being humble, what that means. You can concoct, coerce, humiliating, degrading experiences, hoping to extract humility out of a specific individual, but will that person feel humble? You cannot force somebody to feel humble. If someone doesn't have humility in their heart, if they don't have humility in their spirit, they can act humble, they can act meek, they can act all of those things, but do they really feel humble? And you can use all the forces in the world, anything you could possibly think to degrade somebody, to humiliate somebody. But will they be humbled? And the question is, when we talk about humility and being humble, what does that mean, really? Because generally we have an idea in our mind about what humility looks like, how a humble person conducts themselves. But we don't know, are they acting humble or are they truly humble? That thing that I'm talking about, the same thing with love, with respect. Are they truly do they truly respect you? Do they truly love you? Are they truly humble? For me, I know every single day, I thank my creator. I say, I'm nothing without you. I am no one without you, and that's the truth. Because the level of discipline and willpower that I've managed to fester up some way, somehow, courage and strength and bravery and fearlessness, all of these things that I've managed to fester up, this isn't just me. This is my creator working through me, and I understand that and I respect that to the magnitude that I can't even describe in words. And so what I've analyzed, and I could be wrong, because again, I'm on my journey, and I've been wrong before, and I will be wrong again. I don't know it all. I don't have all the answers. But just from what I've interpreted, and this could be coming from some deep stuff, right? Because we all got work to do. I got some stuff in my subconscious cluttered in there that needs to get cleansed out, right? Not everybody's bad. Not everybody's out to get you. Not everybody's sinister. But from what I've gathered, and I could be wrong, usually when people want to quote unquote humble you, it's because they want you humble to them. See, the humility that they want you to have, they don't have. Like the conditions that they try to impose upon you, they don't embody those things. They don't embody those qualities. It's like, that's interesting. What's good for me isn't good for you. The disposition that you want me to have isn't the disposition that you have. That's interesting. That's really interesting. And from what I've seen is they don't care if you're humble to your creator, to God. They want you humble to them. Why? Because it makes them feel validated. It makes them feel important. It makes them feel, it boosts up their ego. And I'm just here to say, I'm not here to play that game. That's not what I was incarnated on this earth to do. I was born to be authentic. I was born to be honest. I don't play that game. So if I don't respect you, I'm not going to show respect to you. That's just how I roll. If I don't love you, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just how I roll. My humility is every day cherishing all the things that my creator is giving me and saying, I can't put into words the utmost respect that I have for you, and I am nothing, no one, nothing without you. But to bow to man, as far as I see it spiritually, that's blasphemy, and I just can't get down with that. Anyways, IG, I think I'm going to do the almond cake today because I said I was going to do it yesterday. I didn't say I definitely, but I said maybe. So I think I'm going to do the almond cake recipe a little bit later on. But until next time, y'all, peace.